Hey, Ray Scott here. You are listening to Paul Taylor on Talking Country.
I don't plan on putting my lips on anything except this ice cold beer. There's an angel back in Tennessee I can't wait to run home to. She's a keeper. That's what I plan to do.
Well, folks, that was the new single Keeper by Ray Scott, and I'm really, really stoked to say Ray's agreed to come onto the show. How you doing, Ray?
Doing great, Paul. Good to hear your voice and see your face again, man. It's been a while.
It's been a while, and it's good to see you as well, and congratulations on the new music as well, because I think like anything that you've ever done since I've started listening to your stuff way back, it comes out and you believe it as well. It's real.
Yeah, well, thank you, man. I mean, that's a huge compliment. That's definitely what we're all trying to accomplish. So I appreciate it.
Where did this sort of idea come from, Keeper?
Well, it's not like I didn't know it already, but a lot of people, it's really about my wife. People, have always said that she was a keeper just because she's such a great gal. She's got a wonderful heart. She's beautiful. She's a lot more than I deserve. And I think, honestly, I think a lot of guys probably feel the same way about their better half. So, so it kind of came from that. It's kind of sort of a little testament to, being willing to kind of fight to keep what you have, you get out on the road sometimes. There, have been temptations, that kind of thing. I mean, it's just true to life. No matter who you are, you don't have to be a musician. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, you can be just anybody. And those things are always going to be lurking in the background. So it's just kind of about standing strong and recognizing what you've got and wanting to hold on to that.
And I think everybody says behind every good man is a good woman, isn't it? Because you do need that support, because obviously being an artist, or like you say, any kind of job, whatever you're in, and it takes you far and wide and you're away from home quite a bit, you need that support.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And she, not only does she support me, but she also helps with the business as well. I've been independent. So, we do everything kind of in-house. I mean, she does everything from helping me with artwork, keeping up with the books, adding things to my calendar. She's a great creative mind herself, so she's very helpful to me. So I mean, she's just she's just so valuable to me, and so I'm trying my best not to mess that up.
There's a country song in there somewhere.
Oh yeah, man, all the time.
But obviously there's a few more songs being released. Is it Hey Fool and Ripples as well? And they've all got their own individuality as well, because I've said this a few times lately, and the charts are full of this without mentioning any names. But there seems to be a trend of same old, and to a point where you don't even know which artist is singing it, because it's been redubbed and rehashed that much that you're thinking that vocal's the same as such and such a bit, or the beat's the same.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of similar sounding vocals and subject matter out there for sure.
Well, yeah, I think if you don't drink whiskey or you're not on a flatbed truck, I think you've had it really with the charts. But that's another side issue. But I think with everything that you've played, and this is why I really like independent artists a lot. Yes, I've spoken to major label artists, but independents have that determination where you're doing it your way on your terms, and I think that comes through on all your music.
Yeah, I mean, I've always tried to do it that way. I had the major label deal as back about 15, 17 years ago, and the first couple of times I started to meet resistance, it just sort of soured me a little bit. I mean, I'm not one that's going to allow someone else to tell me how to create my art. So, taking the independent route as far as just creative freedom was always the way to do it. Now, it's not something that's going to necessarily make you rich. I tell people that, I'm not laughing all the way to the bank, but I'm not crying all the way to work, So And that's kind of the attitude I keep,
There's another song title straight.
yeah, right.
You're coming out with it all left, right, and center.
Yeah.
But no, I understand what you mean, really, because I think the first time I came across an independent artist of some stature like yourself was Adam Watson.
Mhm.
And he said, I went to see him. I didn't actually speak to him face to face, but I went to see him at a local concert in Manchester in England.
Mhm.
And he said, yeah, I'm independent because the doors started to shut. And he said, I just had a #1 hit record on an independent label, and I'm thinking, well, yeah, I get it, and you do it on your own terms and stuff like that. And I think that gives you that creative freedom because, like I said, hopping back to the conveyor belt of music now, unfortunately, there's some great tracks on there and some great artists. I'm not saying that, but there tends to be, you get a Spotify playlist and you're going, and you're blindly listening to it, and you go, oh, that's in such a band. You go, oh, it's not. Oh, it sounded like them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
there's a little bit of watering down or diluting, I think, of the art sometimes when you go on the major labels because they're pulling the strings, aren't they? Like you just said.
Well, they're trying to, they're trying to play it safe. The goal of all the major latest labels and the goal of the people at radio is to, not give them necessarily great music, but to just keep them from changing the channel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And so a lot of the stuff that does go to radio is kind of custom made for it, which means it's probably got all the usual cliches, and nobody's getting real original, at least with the sounds. I don't think anybody wants to be too different because if you don't fit within a certain mold, you might not get the opportunity. So, but that to me is just kind of a boring and very you know well, I mean, you just feel like you have chains on.
yeah.
And so I just, I've been lucky enough to be able to forge a career doing it my way, and with the help of a few good people. I mean, obviously you don't do this by yourself, but um, that's the only way I would want it.
Yeah, yeah, rightly so, rightly so. And I mean, from yourself, how did it all start? I know we'd spoke some years ago, a couple of years ago now, really, but obviously for listeners who don't know anything about your past and that, how did it really start? Because you've been in the industry, well, basically doing this for just over 17 years, something like that.
No, at least, I mean, I've been a signed artist for that long, or at least, I got my first deal at Warner. My first album came out in 2005, so that's been 18 years ago. And I was making a living, writing songs. I had a couple of publishing deals before that happened, before the record deal happened. So I mean, I've been in Nashville for going on 30 years. So so I've been doing this to some extent, at least part time. I've been doing it full time since probably 2002, 2001.
Yeah.
Without having even a part-time job, but even before that, I was doing it. So I mean, I've been around a while, and it's if you're paying attention, it's impossible not to learn something along the way.
No, that's absolutely true. And obviously the epicenter of any kind of country music is Nashville, isn't it? So, I mean, how are you finding it there right now, Nashville, as it is?
Nashville, man, has really changed. It's gotten well. For one thing, it's growing so much. There are high-rise buildings, apartment buildings, everything. Just something new coming up every other week. And I mean, to drive downtown and not see a crane in the air somewhere is a rarity. So it's not the town that I moved to by any means way back when. The music has gotten different. I think around the time that I was at Warner. I mean, back then I was too country, for radio even back then. So, so they were trying to kind of pull me towards the middle, make me a little more of a pop, flavored artist, I think. And, so I think the music has, a lot of influence from the West has come in, a lot of LA people, a lot of LA mindset, it's not necessarily the good old boys club that it used to be. And I mean, look, I mean, things change, things evolve. There's no, there's no preventing that. And and not to complain, there are a lot of people that are out there now making it work for them the way things are now, and that's great. I mean, that's just progress. It's
Yeah,
different, so I don't begrudge anybody else their success. The most unfortunate thing to me, I think, in the years that I've seen go by, is just the fact that a lot of excuse me, a lot of songwriters have suffered. Because although streaming is very helpful to artists, it's helpful to me when in having people discover my music. I'm the writer, so it doesn't hurt other songwriters. I mean, they just don't pay. They just don't pay the songwriters. Spotify, all of those streaming services are just, for lack of a better term, just completely greedy. And like I say, I don't want to put them in a terrible light, but I hate to see what's happening to songwriters. There are a lot of songwriters here in town who are here just as songwriters who are, hopefully depending on having artists record their material. Well, there used to be a day where when that happened, they could make some money. These days, the only way to really make money or good money as a songwriter is if you have a hit on the radio. Streaming doesn't help, and streaming has become obviously the number one way people consume music. So, what happens is, for artists like myself, we don't really get paid for the music anymore. The music itself doesn't make us money. It's going out on the road, selling hard tickets, selling merch. I still sell some CDs. I still sell some vinyl here and there. T-shirts, hats, things like that. I mean, that's kind of the bane of our existence, because it's, the money is just not in the selling of the music itself anymore the way it used to be. So because of that, there's a lot of songwriters that have kind of fallen by the wayside and have gotten, have had to go and get new jobs, start new careers. The percentages of the songwriters who are actually successful in town, has gone down, and a lot of times it's the same handful of people that has a lot of the success. And that's one thing that progress, in my mind, has. It's definitely a black eye on our business, I think. But I mean, hey, if I were 25 years old and I didn't know any different, I mean, I'd just run with it the way it is and see where it takes me. And that's what people do, and that's what they'll always do. I mean, the business was different when I got in it than it was 20 years before that. So it just is what it is. All I can do is speak from my own experience.
It was quite interesting, actually, for last weekend here in England, in the centre of England. There was a festival of country music, but it was based really on hillbilly hoedown kind of thing, which was like 50s country. And all the bands that were live had the Texas swing going on and the Hank Williams thing vibe going on, all dressing the part. And it's the first time I've ever seen anything like that. It's the only one, I think, in Europe. And it was absolutely packed out, and people just had good fun. And it was so refreshing to hear that kind of 50s vibe all the way through the day, into the night. And it was really, really good.
Well, and I appreciate that so much as well, too. And the good thing about things these days is that people, obviously they can make a choice. They can get online and they can discover so much more now than they used to be able to do, because it used to only be radio that, that fed people whatever was coming out. So, so I'm glad to see at least people having an opportunity to discover, whether it be old country, bluegrass, as you say, Texas swing, things like that, because if your only reference to country music was what was coming out of American radio, then I'd be pretty sad.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's a melting pot of, I've said this a while, it's like a multi-genre kind of genre, really, because you have your honky tonk, you do have your Americana, your bluegrass, you've got your traditional, you've got your pop in there, your rap, the sort of new stuff that's coming along, the Nashville beat, and also stuff that I call coffee shop country, which means that kind of country where if you're in a coffee shop, you can hear in the background, but you won't know it's country, but it's just mellow and nice, and singers just saying their piece, and
it's a little acoustic thing.
Exactly, you know, and I think it's so, like you said right at the get-go, it's grown, you know, and but it has, like I said, it's got avenues for every artist. Like I said, yourself being independent, or you want to go the full hit and go for the nationals and hope you get discovered as well. But you have a great following. I mean, more so than you probably think, because you go over to Europe and people love you over in Europe, like Austria and Switzerland, places like that. You've just come back from there recently?
I was just in Norway for the first time, just a couple of weeks ago. A couple of weeks from now, I go to Spain. So, yeah, I've been really, lucky and blessed to get those opportunities. I really appreciate the way Europeans, they have a certain, the ones who obviously, not everybody, but the ones who obviously are fans of country music. I think it seems to me that they really are interested in the fact that this is a pretty much an original American art form, and they see it for that. I think they recognize that, and there's a flow to the lyric, there's a flow to the vocal and things like that, and I think that, but at the end of the day, these songs, what they are about is what, it's just everyday people problems and the human experience, and that doesn't change. I've been all over the world now, and that's the first thing I realize is everybody's the same. I mean, we don't all talk the same, but beyond that, man, I mean, it's just there's just 6 degrees of separation. So, I just feel like, if things weren't wide open the way they are, and I only had the United States as a place to play and to entertain or whatever, it'd be a lot tougher. But Europe, a lot of places in Europe have given me an opportunity to continue. I played in Norway, like I said, a couple of weeks ago, that being the first time I've done this festival. And, and they really liked it. So now they want to have me back and help me get on some other festivals out that way, and continue to grow it. And that's just such a blessing to me, because, you never know how things are going to go in the United States. We got a lot of competition over here, and, you got a lot of artists and only so many venues, and a lot of them want to pick the younger guys, whatever. So, I mean, you're always up against something that's going to challenge your ability to work. So, man, I mean, Europe being such a wide open market for me now, it's an exciting thing, and I'm really, really looking forward to coming over more, discovering new places, playing for new faces. I mean, the last album before I released the one that came before this was called Cover the Earth, and I sing that song from the heart, because it's, ever since I was 14, man, I went to, I was still kind of a dumb kid on the farm. I'd never been anywhere, and my grandmother took me to Los Angeles, California, all the way across the country from North Carolina. Had some cousins out there, and I got to see a world outside of the one that I had come to know as a kid, and man, it just gave me a really, really bad case of wanderlust, and I couldn't wait to get out of my hometown and just start seeing the world. And man, this music thing has done that for me, so many times over, and it's a great existence. I enjoy it a lot.
Oh, we need to get you over to the UK. That's for sure as well.
Well, we'd love to come, man, for sure.
Yeah, no, it's we have quite a lot of festivals here now, and but I said that a lot of artists that have said, "Oh, we've lost a contact now in the UK. I need to come over," and we're putting them in touch with people. So we'll have to obviously keep you in touch with a few people over here as well, and hopefully get you over as well. But you was mentioning just a bit of new albums coming around the corner. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, my new record. It's called Billboards and Brake Lights. And that's obviously a reference to kind of what I see a lot as I'm traveling. But this. I released a record before this album called Wrong Songs. It was just kind of a bunch of sort of off-color stuff, just for fun.
That was funny.
And
That picture of you.
that's done. Yeah, yeah, right. The redneck Einstein, right? No, I call that Raytoven.
Right.
I put that out, and then my intent was to go back and release another serious album. And this record is a serious record, and a lot of really great tracks on it that or at least stuff that I'm very proud of. And so far the reception on the new stuff has been really great. We put out Ripples first, and then we did Hey Fool, and now we're on Keeper, of course. The next song will be coming out, I think, August 25. It's called Long Black Cadillac. And, and we're going to continue. We're going to basically release one song a month with a video up until November. And then the entire album will come out then. So we'll have it on my website soon to pre-order. So if anybody wants to visit my website, which is rayscott.com, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, no, that's we always tell people to go and visit social media or websites and get the merch, get the CDs, keep you guys in relative comfort without doing a 9 to 5.
Well, it's I wouldn't call it comfort, but at least it's not poverty.
Yeah, I know what you mean, my friend. But you got some gigs, like you say, you're coming back over to Spain. You got some gigs lined up in America, I think. Is it this week?
Yeah, this coming week I'm going to Boston, just outside of Boston, Massachusetts, and that'll be my first trip there actually to play a show. And we got something there. We got something in New Hampshire, and then I come back and I go to Spain a couple of weeks later. And then we've got a pretty full schedule between now and the end of the year, at least up till about mid-December. So, and everything is on my schedule, on my calendar, the tour page on my website.
Keep him busy. And I always hark back to, being a musician myself for about 20 odd years, the song that really gripped me was Working My Way Back Home. And I thought, when you're driving home at 2 a.m,
sure.
you just done a couple of shows, you're heading back home. And I always play that because it always makes me feel like getting home.
Man, I appreciate that. It's funny, man. That's a bit of a lesser known song from me. I think partly because it was never a single or anything, but I feel like that's such a great song to end the show with. Yeah. So I'm, but it works best in a band situation. I do a lot of acoustic shows too, where I take one other guy with me, and obviously that's kind of a way to get into doors a little easier, keeps your overhead down, less risk for everybody. But I'm glad you like that song. That's definitely a standout for me too.
I do cover that one. I'll be honest with you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I love to hear that.
Because I've got a similar tone voice to you when I start singing, to be fair. And I like to yourself and Trace Adkins. That's my
Oh, cool. Awesome. I can hear that.
Yeah, and it's my kind of music as well. I think it's good fun, especially when the rednecks come. Well, the English rednecks come out to play. That's quite
man.
Fun.
I just it's funny, man. Speaking of my kind of music, I just got somebody tagged me in a video on Facebook. They were doing an official line dance to it over in Margowo in Poland.
Oh, right.
It's so surreal to see my songs being listened to and used in such a manner. Halfway across the world. That's one thing that'll never get old to me. It's just the coolest thing to, it's nothing I ever dreamed about growing up. I didn't even know it was possible. And now there's a couple of songs when I go to say France or Switzerland. They always want me to play, and they get mad if I don't play Gypsy. There's it's fun, man. It's a lot of fun, man. And I we hope to do. One place I haven't really been is the UK so far.
Oh,
Um,
we need to keep you in touch. I'll like I say, I've got your
yeah,
email address, and I'll drop your some details and see whether we can get you over here next year, and be great
yeah,
to live,
hey,
especially.
that'd be fun. That'd be
But
fun.
before, I mean, we're going to wrap up now. But before we go, I want to ask you one more question. But obviously, once we finish, I'd like a liner from you before you go, if that's okay, sir. Uh,
Yeah, sure.
but my last question would be, okay, to all your fans out there, what's one thing that you can tell them that they might not know about you?
Oh, one thing they might not know. Hmm. Well, I like to wear women's underwear. I'm just kidding. Totally kidding. Um,
I nearly said I do, but I
on
better not.
on my head, actually. No kidding. No, man. Well, here's my guilty pleasure,
Okay.
and people may be surprised to hear this, but there's a song called "Sailing" by Christopher Cross
Yeah, I love it.
that I love to listen to. Just when I want to get away. I mean, the song itself, this is cliche to say because it's a lyric in the song, but it takes me away. It's a song that musically, and not only lyrically but musically, puts me in that headspace of being on. And I think that Christopher Cross was an amazing guitar player. People don't know that. They don't realize that. A lot of casual fans don't know. And so I think that song is just genius. And I would place it at the very top of my favorites. But I think a lot of people, when they hear my music, they wouldn't make that connection.
That's great.
So,
I've actually
so
got
yeah, that's something people don't know about me that
I've got it on vinyl, the album.
might surprise you. Do
I've,
you really? That's
I have
cool.
absolutely.
I've got a friend who has sung backup on some of my music. Actually, went out on tour with him recently, a
Wow.
few years back. Marsha Ramirez, she sang backup with him, and I thought that was so cool because
Because didn't he?
I wasn't necessarily one that listened to all of his music, but he had a handful of songs that I thought were really good.
Did he sing the theme tune to Arthur? With
Yeah, you
um,
get lost between the moon and New York City.
yeah,
Yeah,
'cause I think that might be on the album. I think, if I'm
yeah,
memory.
yeah,
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 yeah, yeah.
yeah. I do like his voice. To be fair, so yeah, yeah, we got a kinship right there. You know,
Yeah.
so
Well, that's cool.
that's great. But Ray, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Well done on the music so far. Can't wait to hear your new stuff, but also to see you live as well, mate. And look after yourself, you and your family. And like I said, it'd be great to see you over here.
Hey, well, you do the same, and man, if we can hook up somehow like that, that'd be great, man. Let's keep in touch.
Yeah, let's do. And like I said, just a quick liner before you get back to you. Looks like your songwriting. You got your guitar on your knee, but
Yeah, yeah, sure.
but you take care, my friend, and God bless you.
Hey, you too, brother. Have a good one.